Hi, everybody. My name is Kira McFarlane, and I'm going to be your TA for Biostats this fall. So I'm pre-recording this video just as a quick guide for how to keep folders and files organized. This will be super useful in life in general if you're working with computers at all, but specifically for this class, we're going to be working with Excel and R, and it's going to be really important that you're able to find all of the files that you need. So no more saving things just to the desktop or keeping everything in your downloads folder. Um, yeah, we're gonna actually go through how to organize everything. So I will share my screen and we can go through it. So first thing you'll probably notice is that I don't actually have any icons on my desktop. I keep it completely blank. I personally like this. A lot of icons get too confusing and jumbled, and you can actually find everything you need using the File Explorer. Or if you're looking for a specific application, you can just search for it. So if I wanted to open Chrome, I can do it just like that. So that pretty much completely eliminates the need for any specific icons. So, okay, first thing, let's go to my downloads. And you see it's pretty empty. I don't keep things in here. I pretty much immediately as I download something, either save it to a specific folder or move it. Um, let's see. So everything goes into, for the most part, of course, if it's like a document of some sort, goes into the documents folder where I have things organized into more specific folders. So these are add-ons for Chrome, my biology degree, my biology PDFs, so on and so forth. Life has like tax information, leases, things like that, patterns. I like to crochet and knit, so I have patterns there. R, just random R stuff, so on and so forth. So let's click on the biology MS folder. So in here, I have everything organized into different folders for each class that I've taken. So I've taught 211 and 260, so I have folders for both of those. And you can tell that I've taught it before because I have TA at the end of it. All of the classes that I've actually taken as a student don't have that. There have been a handful of classes that have the same number. So 590 I've taken twice, 665, which is a seminar I've taken twice. But they were different topics. So I have this underscore and then a little bit more information about what the class was for. Okay, so let's go to 260. So I've got this CNSMTA workshop. When I first learned to teach, I had to do this workshop to make me a more effective teacher. So I've got everything for that class in here. Fall 2019 is where everything from last year is. And then I've got homework, in-class workthroughs, photos, PowerPoints, quizzes, exam keys, summary sheets from Chloe, another TA that I work with. And in there, I've got everything broken down into specific folders for each one. So in-class workthroughs, PowerPoints. So at first you can see that I've got a little bit of a different naming system. At first I started with just fall 19 and then the numbers for the chapters. I quickly figured out that that was not the best system, so I ended up actually doing the chapter and then the actual name of the chapter. So this is one tip that I'm going to share with you. Everything that you name, all the files and folders that you name, should be something that is recognizable. This F19 underscore 1 underscore 2 underscore 4 is not a great name, admittedly. It's hard to tell what that means. I know that what I meant when I wrote that was that it's a PowerPoint that I made fall 2019 and that it's chapters 1, 2, and 4 from the lab manual. But having something like this is much more clear. Chapter 9, normal distribution, right? So I really recommend that when you make folders or files that they're specific in some way, specific enough that you'll know what it is. You don't have to have every piece of information in the name, but at a glance, you should know what it is. Let's see. Also, so in that previous file, there were a lot of random things down here. Try to keep the number of items out of folders to a minimum. So I've got some stuff down here that doesn't quite fit into any of these folders, and I'm not exactly sure the best way to go about organizing them. So I've left them here for the time being, but every so often I like to come back to some folders, maybe if I'm just in the mood to organize, or if as I'm trying to find something, I realize that it's an absolute mess, I might go ahead and reorganize things a bit. But yeah, so my CV, wasn't sure exactly where to put that in here because it's something that I access somewhat regularly depending on what's going on, or if I'm applying for a grant or a conference, or to go to a different school or something like that. And my undergraduate transcripts, again, doesn't really fit super well into any of these folders, so they're just floating here for the time being. That's pretty much it, though. Let's see. Yeah, so that's really all I wanted to say, is that there are a couple different methods of data and folder organization. The way that I do it really focuses on grouping by context and grouping by similarity. So if certain things are more closely related to each other than others, they all go into a similar folder. In that folder, there may be subfolders to further break things down. Other systems that make sense for some things are by date. So for classes, instead, if you don't want to just have every class you've ever taken in a folder, you might actually want to break it down by freshman, sophomore, senior, junior, obviously. You could do it that way. If, let's say, I don't know, maybe a collection of data or photographs or something like that, you might want to have the actual dates or the month and year that each of those things were made, or yeah, they were made. Let's see, there's another method that some people like to use, which is just alphabetical, which I think is a really interesting system. So in that case, you actually have just the documents folder, and then you have a folder for every letter of the alphabet, A through Z. And then just one subfolder underneath of that, or not one, the subfolders underneath of that are then alphabetically organized. So maybe under B, you would have biology, business, birthday plans. I don't know. So in that case, things aren't actually organized by likeness or similarities or relevance to each other, but it's still very easy to find everything that you need because everything's in an alphabetical structure. So that's really everything I wanted to say. If you can, I would go ahead, take the time now and try to organize your files as best you can. A lot of the time when you first download PDFs and things like that, the file name is just a bunch of gibberish, right? It's like A26Z FF12 or something like that, right? .pdf. And I know a lot of students, and I used to be like this as well, had a tendency to just save that as is, and I would just save it to the desktop and be like, oh, well, I know what it is right now. I know where to find it right now. Let me just read it and then forget about it. But then when you come back to it later and you're like, what in the world is this random PDF on my desktop? You have to open it and look at it to figure out what it is, right? So if you can kind of cut that step out and just organize it immediately into a relevant folder, you can really cut down on the amount of clutter and time that things can take. Actually, let me share my screen one more time and look at my, let's see, where, probably my thesis, articles to read. Okay, so we're in my biology MS, my biology master's folder, looking at my thesis. So everything in this folder pertains to my thesis. And then I have this here. Actually, let's just back out. So biology MS, I have articles to read, data, grants and conferences, other people's proposals, permits, thesis drafts. So those are the folders. And then I've got the graduate handbook and my program of study, which don't exactly fit into any of those, but it's only 2 items sitting out, so I don't mind that. And then I went into this articles to read. So these are articles, scientific articles that I've at this point probably already read or still want to read. And there's a long list of them, as you can see. But you'll probably notice that they're pretty neatly organized. I don't have any of those random letter kind of ones. Oh, maybe a handful. But generally, I like to, and this is probably, yeah, a handful of them are probably their titles or may not actually be a published paper. It might be somebody's thesis or an, or just a correspondence somebody has given me. So I didn't put them in a journal format. But for the most part, you can see all of them are actually organized by author and date. So I find that to be a really good way to keep things like that organized. So again, yeah, just try to avoid having non-descriptive names for your files and keep things in folders as much as possible. Yeah, and I think that's it. So try to find a system that works for you. Not the same system isn't going to work for everybody. It's a little bit of trial and error to figure stuff out, and always be open to reevaluating the system that you have and seeing if maybe something is actually better for you compared to the system that you had in place already. All right, well, good luck organizing and see ya.